from the Fox 5 studios, this is Silver State Sports Live.
Well, what a weekend we are coming off of. Playoff berths, series sweeps, and million-dollar contracts galore. Welcome into Silver State Sports Live. I'm Mike Davis.
And I'm Mariah Janos. Move over Frank Sinatra because the Athletics are now the Kings of New York. We're marveling at the Green and Gold's pitching staff after taking both series against the Yankees and the Mets. Plus, the Aces are going with the old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We've got the latest on free agency signings, but let's start with what's got Medieval Maniacs fired up on this Monday afternoon. The Vegas Golden Knights are playoff bound after securing the overtime win against the Colorado Avalanche. Let's look at how it went. To Ball Arena we go. The Knights down one in the first period on the power play. Mitch Marner throws it on net, takes a couple wild bounces, including off of Tomas Hertl. And it's the captain, Mark Stone, who gains control, maneuvers to his backhand, and buries it. We're tied up at 1.
Move into the second period. Pavel Dorofeyev with the top corner snipe from the dot puts Vegas in front 2-1.
So beautiful. And the Avalanche would respond to send this thing to overtime. A little 2-on-1 fast break. Jack Eichel elects to keep it himself and let it rip. The game winner that secured the playoff berth. Carter Hart was fantastic in this one. 30 saves on 32 shots. Knights win 3-2 and remain undefeated under John Tortorella. Here's Jack Eichel after the game.
Just an incredible save by Harty down one end, and puck squared it out. I think he was probably playing, past a little. Nate was, and just decided to shoot one. So it was good to see that one go in, and big win for our group. But we're probably not there in overtime. If it wasn't for some of the tremendous saves by our goaltender. So I think he was our best player tonight, and credit to him. We knew coming in, with the win that we were in. So it was, great effort by our group tonight. Hartsey played awesome. We had some chances. I thought it was a great team effort and find a way to win. So, our goal at the beginning of the year was to, get to the postseason, and here we are.
Well, that win has moved the Knights into the top spot in the Pacific Division with just 2 games left in the regular season. The Oilers and Ducks both just a point behind. So this is the perfect time to welcome in Ken Boehlke of Sin Bin Vegas. Let's talk about this momentum swing we have seen since the hiring of John Tortorella. Why has this coaching switch-up been so effective for VGK?
I think the biggest reason is, to be honest with you, the schedule lightened up a lot on the Golden Knights. When they first started, they played 3 of the worst teams in the league back-to-back. Now, the other games, there's an Edmonton game in there. There's the one you were just highlighting, the Colorado game. Like, those ones look more like what the Golden Knights were hoping to look like. So those ones have really started to kind of be the style of play that they wanted, which is a little bit more pressure-oriented, a little bit better forecheck, a little bit more aggressive is the kind of the style. And so far, so good, albeit a pretty small sample to this point.
Now, as we mentioned, the Knights lead the Pacific Division right now, but that could change with these last 2 games. How much does seeding matter at this point with how hot the team is right now? Obviously, they're collecting wins against the teams that they should, but should there be any concerns with the first-round opposition?
It's kind of interesting the way that it sets up, because in a weird way, because the division has been so bad, the Pacific Division's way worse than the other ones. If you win the division, there's a pretty high probability that you're getting a team from the other division, which would be the Central Division. So that may actually not be the best thing. That being said, that does come with an extra playoff or an extra home game, which would happen in Game 7. So that's certainly beneficial. I think the matchup, it may not be the best matchup for this team to play against Utah, which is probably what would happen if they win the division. That being said, win enough games, win the division. That's always good. You get the banner, get the extra home game, and they should be able to beat any of these teams. They're all going to be difficult series, but they should have a pretty good chance against any of them. And in the end, you got to beat them all to win the cup, right?
Yeah. All right, so the Knights have a chance to collect another 2 points tonight against the Jets. Now that the playoff berth is clinched, do you foresee towards potentially resting any key players in these final 2 games?
I would be surprised if they do that. There's still an outside possibility, and it's not a high probability, but it is somewhat possible that if they were to drop the next 2 games, they could drop all the way down into 4th in the division, which would probably put them in the second wild card, which means a trip to Colorado. that's a disaster. You certainly don't want that, because not only do you get Colorado in the first round, but then you would get the winner of Minnesota-Dallas in the second round if you did get through Colorado. Really difficult. So they've got to find a way to at least get a few points here down the stretch to make sure they hang on to at the worst third place. The other thing is, like, there's a lot of time, right? Like, so the next game is on Wednesday. That's the final game of the regular season. We're expecting the playoffs to begin on Saturday or Sunday. With it, if it's a home game, it's more than likely going to be on Sunday. So they've got quite a bit of time. So it may not even be beneficial to rest players on Wednesday, meaning understanding that could be Monday today and then Sunday the next game. That's way too long. Hockey players don't typically like that. So I would be very surprised. No one's resting tonight. If they win, I guess they could do it next game, but I don't expect it to happen.
All right, well, Torts came in. He said he wasn't going to make a lot of changes, but he did switch up the goaltending. Carter Hart in net. He has been outstanding thus far. Are you surprised Cassidy never went to him earlier? I assume the team's going to ride with him throughout the postseason.
He was injured for a good portion of it. I think there may have been one game that he was available there towards the end of Cassidy's tenure, and I do think Cassidy was probably going to use him, mainly because typically, it's not always the case, but typically, and especially in this case with Tortorella coming in so late, it's usually the goalie coach that's making that choice. And Sean Burke has been around the entire time. He knows the goalies as well as anybody. He's usually going to be the one that's kind of going to bat for the different guys and saying, hey, let's give this guy an opportunity. They had the chance to put him in there right away. They did that. He's won a few games, looked pretty good in the last couple. And yeah, I think he's probably trending towards being the starter. Plays again tonight. We'll see what happens on Wednesday. Things can always change, and I don't think it's all that crazy to believe that both Hill and Hart will play games in the playoffs. But as of right now, it's very much looking and sounding from what Tortorella has been saying like Hart's going to be the starter in Game 1.
All right, Ken, thanks so much. Great stuff as always. Go check out Sin Bin Vegas. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, still to come on Silver State Sports Live. Start spreading the news. The A's left New York with series wins over both the Yankees and the Mets. We're giving the pitching staff the flowers next, and we'll see you when we return.
This week on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Your Triple SEN lineup is sponsored by AAA Roadside Assistance. Visit AAA today.
You're watching Silver State Sports Live.
All right, so just a couple weeks ago, the Athletics were the only winless team in baseball, but my, how the tables have turned.
Yeah, remember we were sweating about the rigorous schedule in the opening month. The A's said, give me the cross-country flights, give me the top teams in the league. Why? Because we found our secret sauce. It's not ranch, it's not Cholula. It's complimentary baseball.
I like both of those. I like Cholula a lot, especially the lady on the bottom.
No, absolutely. But I'll go with the complimentary baseball at this point. We knew the bats were going to find the ball at some point. That's what this club is known for on paper. But hold the phone, because the pitching staff has awoken and locked in, recording 3 shutout victories between the Yankees and Mets series. There was a point during the road trip where the A's had gone 26 innings without allowing a single run. That is insane. And after starting the season 0-4, the A's are on a 5-game win streak, have won 8 of their last 11, and are now in a tie for first place in the AL West.
Now, Jeffrey Springs is leading the starters with 2 wins and a 1.47 ERA, while Severino has racked up 17 strikeouts in his 3 starts. And add a round of applause for big Joel Kuhnel, who has been the closer we didn't see coming, with 2 saves thus far, retiring the side on just 4 pitches against the Mets last night to secure the sweep.
And speaking of securing the sweep, here's the other half of that victory. We've been waiting patiently for this one. The Big Amish finally broke through in the Big Apple. Nick Kurtz with the solo homer, his first time going yard this season. And it was the 1 run the A's needed, taking Game 3 with a final score of 1 run.
The first road trip was a tough one, and I know these guys wanted to have a successful road trip and came here prepared to play against two quality teams, and I think that shows. I think their confidence is growing, and that's a positive. The performance all week, I mean, outside of game one, and you're going to have games like that. You know, the bullpen isn't going to be perfect. You got to take advantage of it when it is, and yet, you know, like you talked about, I think there's some rhythm to the bullpen, and we know last season when we found that rhythm, we had some success with everybody down there and building confidence with all 8 guys.
It's funny because Kotsay never gets too high, never gets too low. Now, the A's have caught some momentum, but it is a long season. So, Mariah, how sustainable do you think the success is?
Well, I know we always say basketball is a game of runs. Baseball is kind of similar. 162 games. It's hard to stay on pace and sustain all of that. But this is a really good sign thus far. The bats, as we've seen, have come alive, or they've done what they've needed to do in those clutch moments. But then the pitching, you have to give them a round of applause for the way that they've been able to really get this bullpen together and get everyone on the same page. And as I mentioned, a long season, you maybe worry about the fatigue of some of these pitchers' arms, but the A's right off the bat have been pretty aggressive about transactions and pulling from AAA, where they have actually been really fine-tuning the pitching staff here in Vegas and getting them ready for the bigs, because they know that there's going to be some movement, especially down the stretch here, to get some fresh arms in there. Joe Kunal, one of them. I saw him here in Vegas not too long ago, and for him to be called up and have the closing performances that he's had thus far speaks volumes, and I think that's what we're going to see here as the season goes on, relying on that AAA pitching staff and moving guys up and down to get some rest where it's needed. But what do you think so far?
I think this is a talented team, you know, so we expected them to be in contention for the playoffs. I think the pitching is the surprising part. So if the bats are going and the pitching is pitching like they're doing right now, from bullpen to starters, I mean, they're going to be in contention in this, you know, AL West. That's what we have been expecting. They have the talent. Now it's just about executing. I do think when it comes to pitching, if a couple pitchers are pitching well and playing up to a certain standard, I think the rest of the bullpen, the rest of the rotation kind of follows suit. So for Springs to be playing at the level that he is, I think that's key. The other thing I love to see is just the camaraderie we're starting to see in this dugout. I mean, they even have a home run celebration, it looks like at this point, with a chain and an elephant head and all these types of things. So I think we're starting to see how these young guys are starting to build some camaraderie. There's a closeness that's developing, and that's going to lead the way for this team in the future. So it's good signs so far, especially on a tough road trip in New York. Yeah,
absolutely. The vibes are high, and hopefully they can keep them there. But you can catch the game one of the series tonight against the Rangers right here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Who will claim the top spot in the AL West? We'll find out tonight. First pitch is set for 6:40.
All right, now it's WNBA Draft Day. We're going over which players the Aces could be eyeing in both the second and third round, plus the latest on free agency. That's on the other side of the break.
You're watching Silver State Sports Live.
Well, there you have it. The countdown to the WNBA Draft is on. It's going down tonight, and although there might not be an obvious headlining star or top overall pick, the biggest storyline might be the payday that the #1 overall selection will receive.
Yeah, get this. Just 2 years ago, Caitlin Clark, her rookie salary after being selected first overall was $76,000. Last year, after Paige Beckers was taken first overall, she made $78,000 as a rookie. But tonight, the first overall pick will earn a base salary of $500,000, just a massive increase, and it's all thanks to a new collective bargaining agreement. So who's going to go #1 to the Dallas Wings? That's what everybody wants to know. A lot of the top names in the mix, Mariah. We have AZ Fudd from UConn, UCLA center Lauren Betts, that's who I love, and Awa Pham, or FAM from Spain, an international center. I wish it's FAM, because then we're going to be able to do a lot of fun stuff.
Right. In the club, we all FAM.
But I think it's FAM. Anyway, Mariah, you're plugged in. Who do you think should go number one? Who will go number one?
You know, I don't know a lot about this AWA FAM. I'm not dialed into the international play as much as I should be, but I know a lot about AZ and I know a lot about Lauren Betts, and I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. They're both walking buckets. It's just a matter of what the Wings are prioritizing. Do they want size? Do they want scoring? Do they want a little bit of both when it comes to their post play? And you know how it really matches up with their free agency moves. So I am interested. I have seen some projections that AZ will maybe slide to number 3 in the draft, which I think would be interesting. She would then land with Seattle, which I think could really use her right now with Skylar Diggins leaving. So I'm going to go with, you know what, Lauren Betts coming off of a natty.
Yeah. And you can't teach size.
You can't teach size.
She's 6'7". I mean, she's
yeah.
a monster. So I think that's what they should do. But what they will do is go FUD. And
you think?
I really do. And I think, listen, they're both great scorers, great shooters. So I think you could have a little bit of a Splash Sisters kind of backcourt situation. But you know me, I always love the TMZ angle.
Right.
You know, what am I going to say, Mariah?
You're talking about the relationship between Paige Beckers and AZ.
Which is fascinating.
It is.
I mean, for the Wings to have the first pick last year, take Paige Beckers, who's an absolute stud, one of the greatest prospects ever when it comes to women's basketball. So you take her first overall. Now this year you got the first overall pick again, and you can take her girlfriend from UConn. I mean, that's a pretty cool sales point to me.
Yes.
I think you got to keep the face of your franchise happy, although Betts is probably the pick. The better pick, I bet they go FUD. We'll see what happens.
That would be very interesting. We could have, it's like its own little sideshow. What I do like is that Paige and AZ on the court complement each other really well. I'm not sure about their personal relationship, but from their time together at UConn, the two of them were just that 1-2 scoring punch. They really push each other. They're super competitive with one another, so I think it would make for great content. I think it would make for very entertaining games, and of course, a whole lot of scoring for the Wings, so I don't hate that. I don't know how likely it is, but I don't hate it.
They already have the chemistry.
That's
so now
true.
Chemistry on the floor.
Yeah.
It's good.
All right. Well, now the Aces are without a first-round selection in the draft. Instead, their first pick will come in the second round at 29th overall, the second to last selection in that round. Las Vegas will follow that up with the 44th overall selection in the third. Once again, the second to last selection in that round. So an Aces team that is surely backcourt heavy. Many mock drafts have the Aces targeting the front court. CBS Sports projecting Oklahoma center Reagan Beers in the second and Michigan State forward Grace Van Sluten in the third.
Yeah, and ESPN has for their mock draft the Aces taking Kiera Wheeler, a power forward from West Virginia. Producer James is going to love that. And Micah Gray, a guard from Oklahoma State. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with those selections. I'm not familiar with a lot of those players, but I do think it's fascinating. A lot of times these players in that second, third round don't even get a lot of court time, especially with a loaded team like the Aces. So I think for them, you just have to go potential. You got to think down the line, maybe even a contributor that doesn't have to work out today or tomorrow or next week, but down the line when you got to retool and maybe Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, all these players are getting a little bit older, maybe somebody who has a lot of potential. So I think that Awa Pham we were talking about earlier, she's a really raw prospect. I think she's only 19 years old. So somebody equivalent to that, maybe an international player a lot of people don't know of, but has a lot of potential. That's what I would be targeting in that second and third round.
Yeah, absolutely. You? I mean, the Aces were in a similar situation just a couple drafts ago, and they ended up taking Liz Kitley out of Virginia Tech, and that was perfect. She was coming off of an ACL surgery, an ACL injury. She was not going to be ready for the following season, but they knew they could develop her. They liked what they saw in her from previous seasons and prior to her injury, so they were willing to work with her on that. And with the new CBA, you're allowed to maneuver your roster in a way where it doesn't count against the cap if you are putting a rookie be in that position or taking someone on that will have to sit out a year. So that will benefit them as well if that is the direction they decide to go in. I know when it comes to the Aces, it's just going to be best available. We'd like to predict front court, back court. They just signed 2 forwards today in free agency, so I'm not sure which way they're really going to lean. I know Becky Hammond does not discriminate against size because look at her, she is tiny, but she's a baller.
Right.
So they're going to go with best available, and then you raise that other point of will they even crack the roster? It's very competitive because the Aces are 3-time in 4-year champs.
Trying to go for 4 out of 5. Regardless, now the Aces have gotten busy in free agency, making moves and re-signing core and role players. First and foremost, locking up both Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray, a key piece to both of those 3 titles. Jackie Young made history with her 1-year, $1.19 million deal, making her the first player in WNBA history to sign a 7-figure deal. Then Aces president and GM Nikki Fargas re-signed the 6-time All-Star and 4-time champ guard Chelsea Gray. Gray signed a 3-year, $3 million contract.
Beyond Young and Gray, the Aces are bringing back Jewel Lloyd, Dana Evans, Nalissa Smith, Kirsten Bell, and then I just mentioned the signings of Brianna Turner and Stephanie Talbot, those 2 forwards, veteran presence for this team.
Busy offseason so far, busy free agency. Coming up, we're showing you the top plays from the weekend. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Let's rip through the top plays of the weekend. A's AA affiliate in Midland, Texas. A's number 21 prospect Ryan Lasko going full Superman. That's not Denzel Clark out there flying through the air to rob Arkansas of the extra bases. He won minor league baseball premier play of the week with this sweet grab.
Number 2, Jack Eichel sends the Golden Knights to the playoffs after a huge save by Carter Hart on one end, and then boom, the rebound, the wrister, all that good stuff. Blows
Stunning.
it by Mackenzie Blackwood to send VGK to the playoffs.
And check out this Selly from the Nighthawks game over the weekend. Quentin Randolph, of course, he scores it, picks up the Xbox controller. It's amazing. We'll see you tomorrow.
That's